Ah, yes. Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to another stream. Welcome to another show. I'm already in the tower. I'm just going to spoil that right away. I'm already here. Up early, working. Something you guys would know nothing about. You have no idea how hard this job is. But let's not get started on a bad off the wrong side of the footbed. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys are doing well. Look, it's a Tuesday stream. Let me just sip my coffee for a second. Hang on. That's nice. Espresso is literally like, it's too good. It's too good. Amazing. Look, it's a Tuesday show. What we've been doing on Tuesdays is we react to other videos out there on the interwebs, videos that matter for the nerdy community that we are in. Where's the chat? Why isn't the chat working? What's up with the chat? Are we actually live? Why is the chat not working? What the hell is going? Are we? Can you see me? Can you hear me? What's going on over here? What do I do with my hands? Are we actually live? Hello? Bleh? For some reason, I think everybody's just acting like I'm live, but they can't actually see me. Josh has been banned in the chat. Well, that sucks. Look, today we're going to do another dose of Kinda Culty, man. Last week, we watched one of his vids. I was kind of hoping that this video that he did was going to be ready to go. And I actually put a little unfair pressure on him. He hit me up in the DMs about it. Tay's awesome, dude. He does great work. So we went over a video of his last week. We're now gonna. Oh, there's the chat. Cool. Hey, there we go. Cool. So we're gonna go over his most recent video about plot twist in Ant-Man 3, Loki Season 2, how the Fantastic Four set up Secret Wars. I imagine it to be, going in depth on all of these different projects and kind of talking about how it all ties together. Just in general, we are hearing more and more about the plans for Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty. I think this makes sense given the time of production right now and how they're working on it. I mean, Michael Waldron probably has some kind of basic thing planned out at this point, and maybe is working it and reworking it, and I imagine it'll go through a lot of different changes, but it makes sense that we would begin to hear things about these movies now, right? Like, this is that, really try to plan this out, make this all make sense. As I talked about yesterday, I'm not super fond of some of the stuff that I think is going on in Loki Season 2. It is possible, and I want to see Tay's take on that. It is possible that Loki Season 2 may well actually have more Kang stuff, like just that the general plot will not actually involve him, but that you will get a lot of background information and just stuff about Kang. So it's possible that still works, but one of the big questions that it sort of leaves me with thinking about Loki is how are we going to do this? Like, how are we going to set this up? How does all of this work together? What role does the Fantastic Four and, Doctor Doom play, if any, in how this is going to play out with Kang and everything, right? And so we have a video coming out later today about the things that Paul went over from Heavy Spoilers in a video recently about what he heard about Secret Wars. And I go into, sort of contextualizing some of the things he's talking about with some things that I have heard, and then sort of speculating on how it all will come together. But this is kind of a part of the fun and the joy is we're at this point of the possibilities are damn near endless. Every little piece of information sort of, gives us maybe a little bit clearer of a picture on what is to come, but it's definitely speculation at the end of the day, right? So it's hyped up stuff. I'm excited for this video. It's long though, so we do have to kind of get into it. And I also imagine that there's maybe some people that want to talk about the Star Wars scoops that I had last night on Nerd Theory, which let me just say, by the way, throw a one into the chat if you were there last night on Nerd Theory. Let me just say, one of my all-time favorite podcasts that we've done, and also just his general reaction Theory's general reaction to the scoops that we talked about last night. One of my favorite reactions that I've ever seen from him, like truly shocked, truly not sure how to react. It was funny. So we had a good time on the pod last night. Shout out to Dude Trust Me, bro, for giving us the tea. And that shit's true, by the way. And look, maybe it'll change. Maybe I was misled, but if not. Wow, we're in for some years. We're in big day for Star Wars indeed, right? So, the one thing you'll say about this job and nerd-venging in general is that it's never boring. We're going into a new arc with fucking Warner Brothers and James Gunn taking over everything, and God knows what they're going to cook up and how the next couple of years will shake out. Star Wars seems to be tripling down. And Marvel's trying to course correct. It's a wild time. But anyways, let's get into this video here by Kinda Culty. Shout out to him. Again, we're going to pause. I will not watch the full video because I think he's going to get into some questions and answers at the end. I'm going to pause, give feedback, etc. If you want the full-on experience of what I'm sure is an absolutely incredible video, go watch Tay's video on your own. But for now, this is kind of what we're going to do. And we like to do this on Tuesdays, just react to some stuff.
We're going in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what is up, everyone? Tay here. Hope you're all doing lovely today. I have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about in today's video. At least I think it's exciting.
I think it's exciting.
Loki Season 2, Fantastic Four, Ant-Man Quantumania, and how those are the projects setting up Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I should say, before we get into it, just a very light spoiler warning, because I am going to be talking about what happened in the leaked trailer for Loki Season 2 from
That's cool. Let's get into it. I want to know, because please, Loki Season 2, please be incredible and tie into everything. Please!
They're not huge spoilers, but if you're trying to stay completely pure of any information before the movie comes out, then you might not want to hear it, but it's pretty small stuff, so I think most of you should be okay. But still, just a warning either way.
Josh
and
loves
also,
Andor.
Before we get into it, of course, if you're new here and a fan of Marvel and the MCU, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because that is what we talk about here. And also, if you would like to support the channel, the best way to do that is to share the video.
Yeah.
And make sure you watch until the end, because we do have super thanks to get to at the end, and there's some great super thanks questions today that tie directly into the stuff we're basically already talking about. So
cool.
So yeah. But anyways, all right, I think that's everything. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Kang the Conqueror. Yeah.
Before the TVA, a variant of myself lived on Earth in the 31st century. He was a scientist, and he discovered that there were universes stacked on top of his own. At the same time, other versions of us were learning the same thing.
Ooh.
All right, so let's get into this. But before we get into all the Avengers and MCU stuff, I did want to do a very brief overview of Kang's history in the comics.
Let's do it.
And the order of his different
Is it a little
variants
quiet?
in
Do you
the
need me to turn it
comics,
up?
just so you guys kind of have a better understanding. Okay, so
how's that?
In the comics, Kang's birth name, his real name, is Nathaniel Richards, and he is a future descendant of Reed Richards.
Audio good?
And was likely named after Reed's father, who is also named Nathaniel Richards. And we can talk about the details of why that is in a different video, but just know that's the case. Now, Kang is from the future, and he was born in the 31st century, and he first traveled back in time in Fantastic Four number 19 back in 1963. And this is when he became the Pharaoh Rama-Tut. But after ruling in Egypt for a while, he was eventually defeated by the Fantastic Four, who had also traveled back in time. So after that defeat is when he took on the new identity of the Scarlet Centurion.
Yeah.
But again, after suffering yet another defeat, this time from the Avengers, this is when Nathaniel decided it was time to return back to his home timeline in the 31st century. But instead of returning to his timeline,
so he's going out there, he's doing some time traveling, he's holding some L's, he's like, fuck,
dark, apocalyptic future timeline of the 40th century. And it was here
then he goes
that
Warhammer
Nathaniel
40K and everybody
raised an army and became the warlord known as Kang the Conqueror. And this is kind of Kang the Conqueror's origin story, was in this future war-torn timeline.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's a few other notable Kang...
Which, and I'm sure, like, he'll talk about this or whatnot, but, like, you know, Paul kind of implied that in Kang Dynasty, it might be like a movie about Kang, much like Infinity War was a movie about Thanos. So you get a little backstory of Thanos and all these different things, right? So I wonder if we'll see these different things, like the Rama Tut thing, the Scarlet Centurion thing. Like, that would be kind of crazy. Like, it would be fun to, in Kang Dynasty, get that and then lead to Kang, you know? And I also love these images because look how fucking alpha this dude looks. Like, I'm sorry, like, for a dude wearing a purple and green weird costume with, like, a fish helmet thing, like, that's, like, one hard-looking mother trucker right there. Holy shit.
Variants I should mention real quick, like Mr. Gryphon or Victor Timely.
Yeah.
But I would say the other two most notable and important variants from the comics are Kang's younger self, Iron Lad, and Kang's future self, Immortus.
Hell yeah.
And Immortus is the older variant of Kang.
It's
who's
a penis helmet?
Much
Oh,
older
my
than
bad.
He looks because he had
it does
the
kind of look
ability
penis
to
helmet,
stop
yeah.
himself aging at a certain point.
I'm older. I'm older than I look.
And after Loki Season 1 came out, director Kate Herron admitted in interviews that the He Who Remains we see in the show was in fact a mix of He Who Remains and Immortus from the comics. And that at one point they almost even called him Immortus instead of He Who Remains, but they ended up going with He Who Remains instead, presumably so Marvel Studios could use Immortus in a future project.
Interesting.
And this totally makes sense based off of what we saw in Loki Season 1. And I actually even just saw some new Loki concept art that shows He Who Remains looking straight up like Immortus.
Nice. I didn't see that. Yo, Mr. Poppy, welcome to the Nerd Ventures. You are a Nerd Venture now.
Got older and became Immortus. He basically became bored with conquering time and time traveling. So this is when he instead became more of an academic and took on the new title of Immortus, the Master of Time. And the reason he was such a big influence over He Who Remains in Loki Season 1 is because in the comics, Immortus was visited by the Timekeepers, and they assigned him the job of watching over all of time and monitoring the different timelines.
Yep.
And a part of his job doing this also included destroying any person or timeline that was deemed as a threat to the Timekeepers. So this put Immortus at odds with Kang and his other variants and made them go to war with one another because any Kang variant would obviously be a threat to the timeline. So yeah, you can see how that story is very similar to the whole premise in Loki Season 1 with He Who Remains and the Multiversal War and the Sacred Timeline and all of that. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of go through some of that history with the different Kang variants real quick because it does tie into everything else we are going to be talking about and discussing in this video.
Man, it's going to be so cool for those of you that are like, just you like super in this, like this is cool, like liking this video. And then the video that we're going to drop later today, that's like it's going to be a really fun like 1-2 punch because I talk about some of this stuff as well, but yeah, it's really interesting like what they could do with Kang. I think one of the real curiosities is like, is the Kang in Ant-Man, is he from 616? What is the 616 Kang like? Because to me it kind of seems like even if the Kang the Conqueror is from 616, he has gone through time so much that for all intents and purposes he really isn't from 616 anymore because he's killed all these Avengers before, we know that for sure. So he's gone through experiences in such a way that like I don't know. It's just really interesting, and I'm gonna be super keen on like how do they craft the narrative around such a character. You know what I mean?
You know, I didn't want to do a super in-depth background, but just a really brief overview of the different Kang variants and specifically Immortus.
Loki?
We freed the timeline. We found him. A citadel at the end of time. He's terrifying. Countless different versions of a very dangerous person, and they're all set on war. We need to prepare.
Take it easy. You're an analyst, right? What division are you from?
What are you talking about?
Who are you? What's your name?
Thrax, I don't know when I'm going to do another Marvel Snap stream, but they're doing something big on Thursday, and I'm quite excited for it. So, and I also built a Silver Surfer team last night.
So now that we've talked about Kang's variants in
So
the
good.
comics, now let's talk about where we could see these variants show up in the MCU
Yeah.
and how that could lead into
Yeah.
Avengers Kang Dynasty
Yeah.
and Avengers Secret Wars. Okay, so far in the MCU, the only Kang variants we know of or we've seen in person include He Who Remains and the Kang variant we will see in Ant-Man
shit.
Quantumania,
Wait till you see the
who,
thumbnail
based
we
on
have made
everything
for the
we
video
know,
today.
will
Whew.
most likely be the main Kang the Conqueror variant. But then besides those two, there's also the Kang statue we saw inside of the TVA headquarters at the end of Loki Season 1. Now, originally, when this episode came out, a lot of people assumed that this statue was a depiction of Kang the Conqueror, the same variant we will see in Ant-Man Quantumania.
Could be.
However, I think that's probably not the case. Because for one, Kevin Feige and numerous others at Marvel Studios have confirmed that we are going to see many different variants of Kang showing up throughout Phases 5 and Phase 6.
Gang, gang.
And also in a recent interview, Jonathan Majors also
He did. He
reiterated
said there
this
were
point,
so
saying that
many
he's going to be
variants.
playing so many versions of Kang in upcoming projects.
Which is cool.
So I think that this statue is probably a depiction of a new variant that we haven't seen in person yet. And according to rumors out there, the big Kang variant we will see in Loki Season 2 is going to be Immortus. Now, of course, these are just rumors at this point, but I gotta say, this would totally make sense for numerous reasons. Because back in September...
It sure would. And it also would sure be a shame if it was just older Sylvie doing some whack-ass... All right,
Marvel
anyway.
Studios showed the first trailer for Loki Season 2 at D23. Now, like many of you, I've only seen the leaked, grainy version of this trailer that is very low quality. But even in that low-quality leaked version of the trailer, there's a ton of details about what's going to happen in Loki Season 2 that we can get from it. And if we go back to what happened at the end of Loki Season 1, after the new multiverse started branching off, we see Loki get pushed through a time door back to the TVA. But it turns out he's not in the Sacred Timelines version of the TVA. The TVA he knows, he's in the TVA of a different universe. And this was actually confirmed by Marvel Studios on their website that this is for sure the TVA of a different reality. That's not theoretical at this point, that's a fact.
Yeah,
And
now
it's
that
during this
could
scene
get that could get retconned. Like Marvel could just absolutely change that and make it the same TVA. And the new leaks that we went over yesterday kind of imply that it's the same TVA, right? But again, like maybe not, and maybe there will be some like layered thing that they do with it. And like obviously, I think Tay made this video, or at least this portion of the video, before the new Loki leaks. And he's operating, I think, under the same logic that I think many fans were operating under just based on Season 1 and this trailer and everything, right? And again, I really hope it's not just a total bait and switch, because that would suck. But I do think that it's just like we're going to have to see,
where we
We're
see
gonna have to
this
see.
statue in place of where the Timekeeper statues once were, with the implication being that in this reality, this version of the TVA is in fact ruled over by a Kang variant of some kind. And I bring this up because this ties directly into what we see in the leaked trailer for Loki Season 2. Because what we see in that trailer is Loki glitching throughout time, and that it appears that he ends up back at the original version of the TVA from season 1 with Mobius, with the Mobius he knows. And while this is happening in the trailer, we hear a voiceover of Loki talking to Mobius, and he says, "I know this is going to sound strange, but I've been pulled through time, and I saw terrible, awful things." And then he continues saying, "This is about everything. There is nothing standing between this world and utter destruction. War is on its way." Now, what I've brought up in past videos is that the same way Loki season...
So just as a sort of aside here, like the way this could work according to the new leaks is that it seems like Loki may be being ripped back and forth between the present timeline that he's at with the TVA, but then maybe being brought back into the original version of the TVA as well. And this is where like this character of Short Round and Bo or BO or whatever will create something to stabilize him within the timeline. And so it's, you know, it's possible that Loki is going back to even parts of season 1, but like being sort of mentally transplanted into his older body. Like, I don't know, like that seems really, really weird, but that's kind of what they're saying is going to happen in the leaks.
Season 1 was very important in that it set up the multiverse and all the backstory and rules for the multiverse, that I think Loki Season 2 is also going to be hugely important because it will sort of officially kick off this next version of the multiversal war. Now, most of the big action for the multiversal war, the main event stuff, will probably take place in Avengers Kang Dynasty and also Secret Wars. But I do think we could see how this war has technically already started in Loki Season 2, and that this is where we'll probably get a lot of important details and backstory on how this multiversal war will take place, and a bunch of details on Kang and the different Kang variants and all of that stuff. There will be a ton of foreshadowing that sets up what's going to happen in Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars.
Again, I sure hope so.
And a lot of that seems to be confirmed just by what we saw in this leaked trailer for Loki Season 2. Just based on what Loki says about war is coming and that nothing is standing between this reality and utter destruction. And one of the other important things that we see in the leaked trailer is a clip of Mobius, B-15, and Loki standing in the TVA headquarters in front of a wall that shows a mural of the Timekeepers. And we see Loki grab one of the pruning staffs and he erases the front portion of the wall to expose another mural underneath. And this mural shows the faces of at least 3 different Kang variants. Now again, this is very grainy footage, but from what we can see of these 3 faces, the face in the middle is just Jonathan Majors' face looking pretty normal and clean-shaven. And then the face on the right is wearing a helmet that appears to be a classic Kang helmet. And then the face we see on the left is the hardest to see, but what we can see of it, it looks like this face is wearing a sort of slicked back headpiece. And just based on what we can see of this face and this headpiece, I think the face on the left is probably a depiction of Rama Tut, the younger Kang variant who went back in time and became a pharaoh in Egypt.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, there's even ways that, like, ultimately, if this does end up just being, like, older Sylvie, that's really the one, right, pulling all these strings, it's even possible that maybe her going throughout all time, she encounters Kang and encounters all of these different variants. And so it's still possible that a lot of this stuff is explored via Loki Season 2 as far as like the lore of Kang, because it kind of seems like maybe at one time there were 3 versions of Kang that had some kind of an agreement. Maybe they even created the TVA or where the TVA is at, you know, after the multiversal war, leading up to the multiversal war, right? It's all really, really interesting. In some ways, when we meet He Who Remains at the end of time, like we're meeting a person who has already gone through just so much, including the multiversal war, creation of the TVA, and then all of time. Like he kind of exists like at the end or edge of time. And so there's a lot of like backstory even before he gets there that could be explored. So maybe some of that will still
because
happen.
if you look at the headpiece, it just looks like an Egyptian headdress or helmet or whatever. And this would make a lot of sense for there to be another teaser for Rama-Tut in Loki Season 2, because there was already a direct Rama-Tut Easter egg in Moon Knight.
True.
And then there was also what looked to be a big Rama-Tut Easter egg in Loki Episode 5.
True.
Where we see a Sphinx in the void that still has the face and nose on it. And this looks to match almost exactly what Rama-Tut's Sphinx time ship looks like in the comics.
Yep.
So Marvel Studios have definitely already been laying out a few breadcrumb Easter eggs for Rama-Tut. So it makes sense that there will be more of those in Loki Season 2. So if we have Kang the Conqueror on the right and Rama-Tut on the left, then that still leaves the Kang variant in the middle. And based off the appearance, this variant in the middle looks to be the same one we saw with the statue at the end of Loki Season 1. Because with Marvel Studios introducing multiple different versions of Kang, it looks like what they are doing is they are giving each variant some kind of distinctive feature that makes them recognizable and stand out from the other Kang variants. So for instance, with He Who Remains in Season 1, he has facial hair, he has a beard, and he's dressed very distinguished and very classy. But then the Kang we will see in Ant-Man Quantumania does not look like this. He has a helmet and the classic Kang armor, and he has no facial hair, but he does have 2 scars going down the middle of his face.
I want to know how I got these
And
scars.
this makes sense because Jonathan Majors has referred to this Kang as more of a warrior variant of Kang. But then the Kang we see in the middle of this image is very clean shaven and has no scars on his face, just like the statue we saw at the end of Loki Season 1. So if the Kang on the left is Rama-Tut and the Kang on the right is Kang the Conqueror, then it would make sense that the Kang in the middle is Immortus, and that he is one of the primary Kang variants who we will see in Loki Season 2 as the head of this other reality's TVA. And
Sounds
again,
cool.
I think this would totally make sense because,
I think
like
it
we
sounds
talked
cool.
about in the last section, in the comics, Immortus is not a warrior. He's more of an academic historian type. And in the comics, the Timekeepers tasked Immortus with the job of being the one who watched over all of time and kept the timeline in check and was responsible for pruning timelines that became a threat. So it's easy to see how that same story from the comics could sort of be adapted into Loki Season 2, but instead of having the Timekeepers be involved, it will just be Immortus, who is the head of this reality's TVA and is using this TVA as basically his army in the multiversal war to watch over and prune any other threatening realities. Because if we go back to Loki Season 1, we heard He Who Remains talk about how all the different Kang variants started a multiversal war in the past, and that if the sacred timeline was allowed to branch off into another multiverse, then this multiversal war would be doomed to repeat itself once again.
Kill me and destroy all this, and you don't just have one devil, you have an infinite amount. Or you two run the thing. You kill me and the sacred timeline is completely exposed, multiversal war, or you take over and return to the TVA as its benevolent rulers.
So in Loki Season 2, I think what we'll see is this next multiversal war that He Who Remains warned about starting up again, and we will see the tactics that different Kang variants use to fight this war, and that each one of these Kang variants could have their own strategy to do so.
Boy, I sure hope
the
so.
Kang the Conqueror variant we will see in Ant-Man Quantumania will be more of a warrior. And
was
as we
excellent
saw
as
in
He
the
Who
Ant-Man
Remains,
trailer,
absolutely.
it looks like he has already built up a large army inside of the quantum realm.
Right.
Plus, on top of that, there's also been rumors that Kang could possibly rule over the Squadron Supreme of his reality.
Ah,
and
man,
use them
another
as
bummer. Another bummer. No Squadron Supreme in Loki Season 2 now. WTF, man.
a
WTF.
part of the multiversal war as well. But maybe the way Immortus is fighting this multiversal war, if he is indeed the Loki variant we will see in Loki Season 2, is a bit more reasonable and a defense-based approach. You know, maybe instead of raising a big army, he instead leads over his reality's version of the TVA and uses the TVA to go after and prune any universe that they deem as a threat. So yeah, I mean, of course, we'll have to see what happens. Right now, this is all just theory talk. But I do think, just based off of what we know and what we saw in the Loki Season 2 trailer and what we know from the comics, that something like this or close to this would make sense. But we better move on, though, because I still have a lot to talk about with Ant-Man Quantumania and the Fantastic Four movie, and also a little bit about Avengers Kang Dynasty. So let's get to that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the thing that's so ironic about that whole portion is, like, yeah, of course, like, that's just the operating, I think, level that many fans were at. I think that him, you know, distinguishing the different versions of Kang and, like, figuring out that that's probably Ramatut, like, that's incredible work and that's awesome. And it just sort of spells out why it would be such a waste if, like, they just bait and switch in Loki Season 2. So, again, I really hope that's not what they're doing.
However, not every version of me was so pure of heart. Some of us, new worlds meant only one thing: new lands to be conquered.
Okay, so like I mentioned in the last section, based on everything we know, it looks like the Kang variant we will meet in Ant-Man Quantumania is, in fact, going to be the Kang the Conqueror variant.
Yeah, so this is kind of the thing, right? We think that the Kang we're going to meet in Quantumania is going to be the big bad of the next two Avengers movies. Literally, this is the big bad of Secret Wars. Like, what do you guys think? Yes or no? I think we're all pretty much on that page, and you know, Paul talks about that in his video as well. But yeah, I absolutely think that's what we're going to get.
He's got the helmet, he's got the face scars, he's got the purple and green armor. It all lines up. And if that's accurate, then what this means is that this version of Kang will most likely be the main villain in Avengers Kang Dynasty. You know, the scariest Kang variant out of all the variants we will see throughout phases 5 and 6.
Now, let me ask you another question. Because you guys all kind of think that's the case. I think so too. Do you think this Kang the Conqueror variant is from the 616 universe? Yes or no?
And if you want to watch a video where I talk more about the Ant-Man Quantumania plot leaks that came out like a month ago,
it's a good video,
and how Ant-Man Quantumania will directly lead into Avengers Kang Dynasty, I will link that at the top of the main villain, the ultimate Kang variant. And like we just talked about, I think his face is possibly the face on the right that we saw in this image from the leaked Loki trailer. Because the face on the right is also wearing a very similar looking Kang helmet, and if you look close, it even looks like the face on the right in this image has the same face scars going down past his eyes.
Ooh,
and again,
I
know
this
is a very grainy image and it's hard to tell, but if you look close, you can see what appears to be the same scarring on the right side of his face. And if this is true, then this could bring up some pretty big questions, because we know that there was this multiversal war between Kangs in the past that He Who Remains talked about in Loki Season 1.
Long ago, there was a vast multiversal war. Countless unique timelines battled each other for supremacy.
And something I've thought about since the Ant-Man Quantumania trailer came out and since I did that last video is if the Kang we will see in Quantumania might be from that past version of the previous multiverse. Because from what we know about the plot of Ant-Man Quantumania is that early on in the movie, we are going to see a flashback to when Janet Van Dyne first got stuck in the quantum realm, where she first met Kang, and that it turns out that this Kang variant has also been stuck in the quantum realm for quite some time. And that Kang and Janet actually become friends for a while and start working.
So he's probably going to go to this, but like I think what he's saying is that this could be someone that was a part of the old multiversal war that instead of being killed, escaped into the quantum realm. He Who Remained sort of resets the multiverse, but this Kang variant survives and is just in the quantum realm and then trying to sort of navigate the new multiverse, right?
Together to figure out how to escape the quantum realm until Janet learns about who Kang really is and his plans to take over the multiverse. And this is why in the Ant-Man Quantumania trailer, we see Janet is very scared about Cassie making this device that can connect to the quantum
That'd be cool,
realm.
huh?
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm. Turn it off. Now!
Now, in the MCU, Janet Van Dyne was stuck in the quantum realm from 1987 to 2018. And we also know that the events of Ant-Man Quantumania will probably be taking place in sometime around 2025 to 2027 in the MCU timeline, or at least somewhere around there. So if Kang was stuck in the quantum realm clear back when Janet first got stuck in 1987, and then he's still stuck down there today when the events of Quantumania take place, then that means that he's been down there for about at least 40 years or so, probably longer. And this kind of brings up a question of how did that happen? Because in the MCU, we know that the new multiverse didn't come into existence until the end of Loki season 1.
Yeah, that would make him a huge threat.
And in Loki season 1, it's kind of presented that He Who Remains is the only Kang variant in existence at that time. That he was basically the winner of the previous multiversal war, and that is how he came to rule over the sacred timeline.
And I ended the multiversal war.
So if that's the case, and the multiverse didn't come into existence until Loki season 1, then how could another Kang variant have been stuck in the quantum realm all the way back in 1987? Well, like I said, maybe this Kang actually also comes from the past version of the multiverse, just like He Who Remains did. Because according to what we know about Ant-Man Quantumania, Kang originally went into the quantum realm to find and conquer the center of time, and then he ended up getting stuck. So maybe what happened is that this version of Kang was around back during that previous multiverse and was a part of that multiversal war, and during that war he went into the quantum realm to conquer the center of time in order to win that multiversal war, but something went wrong and he got stuck. And this allowed He Who Remains to instead win the multiversal war.
Yep,
And
I think that makes a lot of
He
sense.
Who Remains variant was able to win that war is because this version of Kang disappeared and wasn't around to stop him. But it turns out that this version of Kang was actually just stuck in the quantum realm all along. Because as we know, time passes much differently in the quantum realm. I mean, in Avengers Endgame, Scott was stuck in the quantum realm for 5 years, but to him, it only felt like 5 hours. So the Kang we see in Ant-Man Quantumania may have been stuck in the quantum realm for billions of years, but to him, it only seems like 10 or 20 years or 50 years or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry, that must have been a very long 5 years.
Yeah, but that's just it. It wasn't. For me, it was 5 hours. See, the rules of the quantum realm aren't like they are up here.
So yeah, again, we'll have to see what happens. Maybe there is another explanation for how this...
And I guess, like, the thing is that's really crazy, and this is why, like, Kang in the multiverse is so weird. I like what Trinity said the other day, where he was like, well, because of the way time travel works in the MCU, it kind of makes Kang inherently a multiverse traveler because of, like, sort of branch timelines and all of that. But is it possible that this Kang, the one that survived the first multiversal war, still comes from the 31st century of 616? And it's going to get really timey-wimey and like hard to explain. And it just keeps reminding me of the scene in Looper where Bruce Willis goes, I don't want to talk about time travel shit because then we'll just be sitting here talking about time travel shit all day, you know? And it's true. But like, is it possible that it's still a guy that more or less comes from the 31st century of our timeline, maybe in like what you would describe as its first go-around, like the first go-around of that, and then he and He Who Remains and all these other Kangs battle, the entire multiverse is basically like rebooted, and is there even another Kang in 616, and is this Kang from the old version of 616, is he paradoxically connected to the new Kang variant of 616? Like, that's like, those are like kind of the questions that I have. It's like, I don't know, man. This shit's getting wild already.
This Kang got stuck in the quantum realm. But if this Kang is actually from the past multiverse, then that could help to explain how his face is on the wall of the original TVA headquarters that we saw in Loki Season 1.
Yep, that's fair.
So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. And as always, you guys should let me know your own theories on this down in the comments.
I like it. Good shit. Let's talk Fantastic Four, baby! I think it has to be from 616 if they're going to connect the 10 rings and the Nega Bands to Kang, right? Yeah. Well, what if 616 is the prime universe, the very first universe,
Fantastic Four movie?
I don't know.
However,
there's all kind of
what
things
we
they
do
can do.
know is that the movie comes out in February of 2025, only 2.5 months before Avengers Kang Dynasty comes out in May of 2025.
This is true.
So I think it's pretty safe to assume that whatever the plot of the movie is, it will somehow directly tie into Avengers Kang Dynasty. And ever since the Fantastic Four movie was announced, I've thought that there was a good chance that the plot of the movie would probably somehow revolve around the multiverse or include the multiverse.
Very possible.
And recently there were some reports that came out, unconfirmed reports, but still, saying that the Fantastic Four script would be taking a lot of its influence from Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four run that introduced the Council of Reeds.
Yes, that is a rumor out there. Now, some of the newer stuff is saying that it's going to be in the 60s and that it'll revolve around a variant of Kang as the villain or whatnot. But yeah, like a lot of people thought Solve Everything, you know, I think it's called Solve Everything Productions. Like there's a lot of hints that they would do the Jonathan Hickman stuff.
And I love this idea. I hope it's true because this is one of my favorite Fantastic Four runs in the comics.
Same.
It's a classic. I love Jonathan Hickman. He's my favorite Marvel writer.
Same.
So them doing this would not be at all surprising to me because it's such a good story. And adapting this story into the Fantastic Four movie would make a lot of sense because it could easily transition right into Avengers Kang Dynasty. Because this story from the comics leans heavily on the multiverse. And what happens in this run is we see Reed Richards create this technology called the Bridge. Mm-hmm. And the Bridge is a multiversal doorway that can also be used as a multiversal viewing device to see what's happening in other universes. And this, the Bridge, is how Reed ends up meeting the Council of Reeds, who show up one day to take him to meet all of the other Reed Richards from throughout the multiverse, who have basically teamed up together to be this multiversal super team to solve all the multiverse's problems.
Yeah.
And if the Council of Reeds is in the movie, I don't know if it will be the primary plot of the movie. I could see them showing up as kind of a subplot. But I
mean, it's still totally possible, even via the 1960s, that Reed would find this council and find access to the council. So they could still totally do this and still do the whole thing of like him being distracted from his family and all of them saying like, no, we like let our families go, and him ultimately deciding he wants to stay with his family. They could absolutely do this via the 1960s, and especially when you involve Kang in this and a previous version of the multiverse, like, yeah, like all of this could actually fit together.
I think it would make a lot of sense for something like the Bridge to be introduced in the Fantastic Four movie, because it could then provide Marvel Studios with another plot device to allow their characters to travel between universes. And that would make a lot of sense to introduce something like that for Avengers Kang Dynasty, because so far the only character that can really do that for the Avengers is America Chavez, so that would kind of force them to make America Chavez a big part of the story. Well, possibly, depending on what the story is. But if they introduce something like the Bridge, then they don't have to lean on America Chavez as this person who can travel between the multiverse if they don't want to. And another thing that I think is worth noting is that Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four comics were also very important to Jonathan Hickman's whole Incursion saga in the build-up to Secret Wars.
Yep.
Because what happens when the incursions start occurring is Reed Richards brings the Bridge back so that he and the Illuminati can use it to see how other universes in the multiverse are dealing with the incursion.
Yeah, it's so dope.
I
like,
could actually see the incursion.
and that's like something that I wanted more out of Multiverse of Madness was like imagine if we had visited multiple Earths that were like 838. Multiple different, either Illuminati or different teams, because that's like what happens in Hickman's shit, especially via the bridge. Like, you see all these different versions. Like, one of them has like Magneto and Doom on it. It's like crazy. So yeah, I think that would be incredible, and I hope they do more of that.
Also being a very big part of the Fantastic Four movie. And maybe Marvel Studios won't just be adapting directly from Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four run, but also taking elements from what the Fantastic Four team was doing throughout his whole incursion saga in the lead up to Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So maybe in the movie, part of the plot could be the Fantastic Four coming together trying to figure out how to stop the incursions or something like that.
Yeah.
Even your arrival
The Kang
here
Dynasty.
confuses and destabilizes reality. The larger the footprint you leave behind, the greater the risk of an incursion.
Incursion?
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide, destroying one or both entirely.
Okay, so one of the big reasons I wanted to talk specifically about these three projects, Loki Season 2, Ant-Man Quantumania, and the Fantastic Four, is because I think those will probably be the most important projects when it comes to setting up what's going to happen.
Well, I sure
in
hope
Avengers,
so.
Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Well, I should probably say at least out of the projects that have already been confirmed
Yes,
and
exactly.
announced. I'm sure
Because
there will probably be some other important...
randomly, and this is something that Paul sort of hints at in his video, it seems as though they're going to do way more multiversal stuff in way more projects than you would even think of. Maybe some of that's via post-credit scenes and stuff like that. But the current rumor is that there will be an incursion in the Marvels in some way, shape, or form. So like, wow, how about that? Something from the Marvels that I actually want to see. And maybe there's going to be a reason and an explanation for what that is and how that all makes sense. But yes, for now, this is what we know. I think you'll be surprised, hopefully, by how many other multiversal things pop off in these other projects.
In Phase 6 that haven't been announced yet that will tie into those movies as well. But as far as the projects that have been officially announced, I think those are the three most important to setting that up. And one of the main reasons I think that is because of who is writing the scripts for those projects. And that is Michael Waldron and Jeff Loveness. And Michael Waldron, if
these are the two nerds that are our hopes.
Screenwriter of Loki
Our hopes
Season 1. And
rest
he
with
was
you.
the one who was really responsible for laying out all of the details and rules for the multiverse in the MCU and the backstory and the multiversal war and all of that. And then after he wrote the script for Loki, he went on to write the script for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So far, he's really the one who's responsible for laying out all of the important elements to set up what's going to happen in the big Secret Wars event. So it was no surprise, at least to me, when it was announced a few weeks ago that Marvel Studios hired Michael Waldron to also write the script for Avengers Secret Wars as well. And Michael Waldron is also working closely on Loki Season 2, but this time as an executive producer instead of a screenwriter.
Yeah.
And just real quick, I will say on a side note, I know some people were not happy about Michael Waldron writing Secret Wars because they didn't like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Culty. I know you're about to give this really professional, big, awesome answer here and all that, but like, just between you and me, like just between us as two bros, fuck those people. Am I right? Like, honestly, fuck those people. Are you kidding me?
I got to say, I totally disagree. I think Michael Waldron's one of my favorite people in Phase 4 so far. I loved Loki, and I really liked Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Shit, I knew it. Hey, let them know. Let them know. Let them fucking know, boy.
Liked every project in Phase 4 at all. There's been some projects I'm
going to do that fucking Andor thing. Everybody that didn't get Multiverse of Madness, you just don't understand good cinema. You just have twiddled, silly brain, and you just want smashy smash all the time. You don't like stories.
But I loved Multiverse of Madness, and probably part of it is because I'm a big fan of Sam Raimi, and that movie was such a Sam Raimi type movie. And I also like the way that Michael Waldron writes and how he very much is invested in setting up the future. And I love that stuff. He's all about world building and kind of building out the multiverse.
Yeah.
And for me, I love that stuff.
Yeah, let him know.
But anyways, then there is also the other screenwriter, Jeff Loveness. And Jeff Loveness is the one who wrote the script for Ant-Man Quantumania. And he has also been hired to write the script for Avengers Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this is that Michael Waldron and Jeff Loveness are actually really close friends because they both worked together before
on Rick and Morty
as writers on Rick and Morty.
I know, right?
Fellow Rick and Morty writer and a pal of mine, Mr. Jeff Loveness, is writing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I'm so excited. Is there any possibility that you guys were sharing any kind of notes? What's going on here?
Well, Jeff is one of my dearest friends. Look, everybody's always swapping notes about different things. When the MCU is really firing on all cylinders, it's when everybody's communicating.
Yeah. Amen.
So as you heard
Amen.
Michael Waldron
let
say
him know.
there...
Hey, let him know, man. I don't know. You guys got me riled up. Just shut your mouths.
The writers at Marvel Studios are always trying to collaborate on their different projects to make sure everything lines up. And with Jeff Loveness and Michael Waldron being close friends like this, on top of the specific projects they are writing on, it makes me think that these two are really going to be the main
his videos are
architects
incredible,
for
dude.
this
Culty's
whole
great.
multiverse saga with Avengers, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars, this whole kind of Secret Wars event. I think Jeff Loveness and Michael Waldron are the ones we have to look to kind of figure out what's going to happen. And with them being such close friends, it also makes me think that we are probably going to see a lot of interconnectivity with the storylines and plots of those specific projects. But anyways, I think we will probably call it here for this one. I will say there was actually a bunch of other stuff I was originally planning on talking.
Dude, awesome. Magic, where are you? No, awesome video, of course. I like these Tuesday reaction streams, man. You know what I mean? We've done 2 culties in a row. I doubt we'll do a third one in a row. We'll probably find a different vid or whatever to react
this video
to
as well regarding
next week. But, man, great video and a lot of cool thoughts. Now, there's something else I wanted to kind of talk about here before we kind of get into Q&A and just get into what you guys want to talk about. The one thing that's been kind of confusing to me about the stuff Paul's talking about, frickin' Paul, you know? The one thing that's been confusing to me about what he's been reporting is that this whole streamlined thing that they're going to do after Secret Wars, okay? And I've been having a lot of different thoughts about this. I got to be honest with you. I had a lot of different thoughts about this. Guys, I kind of think that maybe one of the reasons that Feige really wanted to accelerate Secret Wars is because, not just because he wanted to play with all these franchises in the movie, but because he wanted his dream MCU. And it could be the case that after Secret Wars, like, I gotta be completely honest, I think it's possible, and this wasn't until recently that I started thinking this. I think it's possible that Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man is permanently back. Permanently. I think it's possible that Chris Evans Captain America is permanently back. I think it's possible then you have Fox X-Men people more or less permanently back. And you have an MCU post Secret Wars that is so much more like Marvel Comics as far as like bringing all the main heavy hitters back. And the thing that's interesting about this is, like, if you look at what happened with all different Marvel, like, essentially Marvel does this thing and then they kind of revert back. This usually happens in comics. It's like a cyclical thing, right? But like, even Tony dies, Thor's unworthy, Iron Man out of the picture. Captain America does the whole Secret Empire thing in his Hydra, and then he's sort of disgraced or whatever. And then Marvel did all these books about how those characters return to status. And then you kind of get to a place where like if you're reading Judgment Day, you know, like it's Tony, Thor, Captain Marvel, like it's just your usual crew. And like Feige has always said, he thought it was like a shame that he didn't have all those toys at once. And you look at look at the post-credit scene that they shot for Iron Man 1, where Nick Fury's talking about mutants and Spider-Man from the jump, right? And the more I thought about it, I was like, damn, like, I really think it's possible that we get in the what may well be a mutant saga or like a mutant central saga after Secret Wars. I really wouldn't mind having Tony Stark back. I wonder how you guys feel about that, because I don't know if I thought that would always be the case, but the more I think about it now, the more I think it absolutely could happen. Doesn't that diminish their sacrifice, though? Also, in comics, actors don't age. Actually, you would have to recast Stark if he was back permanently. So here's the thing. I've had these same thoughts, John. But number one, no. Like, they're bringing Harrison Ford back as young Indiana Jones. The technology is so fucking good that no, like Robert Downey Jr. could play. Like, think about what we're talking about. We're talking about how old is Harrison Ford? Is in his 70s? He's in his 70s, dude. And what's he doing? He's playing Indiana Jones. Like, think about where the world is at. We're in a completely different world than we were at when he hung it up. When Tony hung it up. Right? And he, by the way, he's been recently posting a little MCU stuff. Just a little. Right? So, like, if we're living in the age of, like, actors coming back to the roles that were iconic, and I don't know what this would be for Robert Downey Jr. at this point. By the time 2026 rolls around, I mean, how many years is that? 6+ years away from the role? Hugh Jackman is coming back to the fucking role of Wolverine after a beautiful send-off in Logan. Like, bro, like, I get what you're saying, but the more I, like, thought about it, the more I was like, bro, I see all kinds of reasons as to why not only would he want to come back, but he would come back for a long time. The technology would be there. We'd love to have him. Like, it's almost obvious that that's the move. And it almost feels like to give proper emphasis to the sacrifice and to really allow the world to, like, live without Tony and all, you know, those different things, and the Avengers disassembled. Like, we're going to go through years of that, dude. We're going to go through years of that. Like, why wouldn't you, on the other end of that, do what comics always do, and that's sort of bring it back to status quo? Because, like, for me, like, again, like, in a post-Secret Wars MCU with Tony Stark back in the mix, and the mutants are a big problem and all that sort of stuff, and then, like, you know, Cap's back and all that, like, I don't know, like, I kind of think that's the move, dude. Like, that would work for me, you know? So we'll have to see. I obviously have no idea if that's, like, real. That's not a scoop. It's something that I'm just been thinking about based on some of the stuff that's Paul's saying, and it's like, what did Hugh Jackman want? He always wanted to just hang out with the Avengers, dude. He wanted to be in the Avengers movies, bro. You know, yeah, it would. I think it could work, dude. And it, like, talk about, like, the MCU being dead or whatever. You know, some people are like, oh, it's on the decline, all these different things, bro. If they do Secret Wars and that shit pops off, and then the post Secret Wars saga, Tony Stark RDJ is back. Chris Evans is back. And now we've got the mutants, and it's some of the Fox mutants. Like, that's good for another 5 to 6 years of, like, let's fucking go. Like, I'd be excited. You know? RDJ is not coming back, most likely. He's older now and has moved on in life in general. Again, see example Hugh Jackman. See example Tobey Maguire. See example Harrison Ford. Bro, you can say all of that. But look at the moves people are making. Like, yo, I'm just saying, like, I can no longer just say, like, yeah, no, he's over it. He's over it. And for the longest, I thought, oh, dude, it would be challenging and also a miracle to get him back for Secret Wars, and then he's done. But now I'm kind of thinking, no. Like, everything that's happening in Hollywood suggests otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Cap tell Wolverine to watch his language. Amazing. That would be incredible. Sam going to give up the shield. He won't be Cap longer than the next film. Bet. I mean, bro, look at what's happening in comics. Look what they did in comics. You know what I mean? Which also, like, I do hope that they don't just, like, give it back to Chris. But there's a way to do that that's compelling. I mean, the way they're doing it in comics right now is, like, Sam, out of admiration for Steve, is trying to help Steve rebuild his image. You know, post Secret Empire and all these different things. There's a way they could do it, right? So, just saying. There's precedence. We can have multiple Caps. Absolutely, we can have multiple Caps. One of them can go do the Exiles or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Pass down a Patriot, for sure. There's all kinds. Dude, it's comics. It's comics. You know? So let's get into Q&A, but I guess briefly I did want to touch on the stuff I talked about yesterday with Star Wars, which it's kind of wild that nobody's picking that story up at all. Like, nobody's talking about it. Now, granted, I didn't tweet about it. I just did it on the podcast, but that podcast is big, dude. Like, it's kind of odd, and I'll wait to see if anybody ever responds to it or follows it up or talks about it in any way, but again, to clarify, what I was told was that, yeah, the plan is already in motion to get KK out of there. Probably be gone in about a year. But that all of the next Star Wars movies that are being created are going to be basically sequel trilogy movies. And they're going to bring back Daisy Ridley. They're going to bring back Poe, and they're going to bring back Rose Tico. And yeah, they're going to they're going to move forward. So, I mean, pretty wild. Again, I thought the reaction that theory had was so priceless, but then, like, you know, he actually was like, well, what if this, what if that, what if this? And there's a possibility that it could be good. It will come with an incredible amount of skepticism and backlash, but that might have happened no matter what. Star Wars is currently at a place where, like, it's just, you're just going to get that backlash. And I do wonder if at one point or another, Lucasfilm basically decided, like, well, that shit's going to happen no matter what. What do we think is, like, legitimately our best strategy? And maybe that's the way. Now, I had heard for a long time that they were interested in sequel stuff. They wanted John. They've been very keen on John, and that just has never seemed to work out. But yeah, I was told, like, they were even looking at taking some pitches or looking at some spec scripts for an episode 10, 11, 12. And, you know, something to do with bringing Kylo back and stuff like that, right? So I've been hearing a lot of these things for a long, long time. I think it's always been obvious that they were going to build towards the sequels, even in Mando and stuff like that. I know there's a bunch of people that were misled about the sequel trilogy being retcon, and this would certainly put an end to that. I think, though, unfortunately, it could really damage Star Wars even further. If, like, this happens and these movies bomb and people hate them, it's just like, it is such a wild strategy. So, yeah, I'd love to know some of your thoughts about that as well. I'm going to go ahead and get into super chats and member chats, and then we'll hang out on the chat a little bit as well. You know what I mean? Just seeing what everybody thinks about all of this. Pretty wild stuff going on in the world. Let's see here. Lucas Tex Venja, member for 29 months. Holy shit. Says, happy belated birthday. Hope you had a wonderful day. It was great, man. I had a really good birthday. You know, it's funny that, like, I kind of woke up with, like, the attitude that I just wanted to just embrace the day and have a good day. Darth Shibby, welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. And there was just something about, like, kind of waking up and making that decision that just made the day pretty good. And then I had this other thought where I was like, why don't you do this more often? Like, just why not wake up every day and be like, yo, this day is going to be for me. It's going to be awesome. Because it just kind of, like, set the tone for it. I had a good time. Chibuzi says, here's my theory. Secret Wars will be the 838 from Multiverse of Madness verse 616. Kang versus Fantastic Four and Young Avengers trying to find young Nathaniel Richards before Kang does. Oh, that's a good theory. I could see that happening in some ways. You gotta watch the video we're going to drop later today about all of the Secret Wars stuff, because I think you're going to be pretty surprised at some of the stuff that's kind of being said out there for sure. But that's a cool theory. I also hope 838 plays a role. Drew Smith says MCU 3 for 3 with last 3 projects by NBA Jam rules. They're on fire. Dude, what are you talking about, dude? I mean, the holiday special was cool, but She-Hulk and Love and Thunder were horrible. Is there like 2 other projects that happened after those ones that I haven't seen? What you talking about, bro? Drew Smith, you better explain yourself. Life Bricks, thanks for the love, man. Mr. Poppy, welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Thrax says, when they're going to be another Marvel Snap stream? Hopefully soon, man. I'll play a couple games after this, actually. I'll play a couple games. I'll show you guys my Galactus deck. Old School says the Rick and Morty writers should do Deadpool 3. Yeah, I mean, I think the Deadpool 3 writers are going to be fine, man. They've got some really talented people over there. So that'll be cool. Chase Floyd, member for 20 months, says another month of me allowing you to charge my card. How's it feel? How does it feel? Like the heavy weight of responsibility. You know? Like I am indebted to you. That's how it feels. Truly. Dirt Wizard with a $5 holiday says, I'm down for them to come back RDJ in a CGI Iron Man suit for almost all his action parts anyways. Yeah, exactly. He could play that for a long time. Bro, he could do that forever. Like, legitimately. Like, are you kidding me? Also, Chris Evans is going to be jacked his whole life anyways. He could easily be a tough old man Cap as he ages. True. And then you followed up and said, what I learned from Nerd Theory last night is KK is leaving a upper decker on the way out the door. Yeah, it kind of seems that way, huh? Pretty wild, huh? Wild times. Wild times. Kiwi says, happy late birthday, Josh. Hope you had a fun one. I did, man. I appreciate it. Can't send wishes ye day. Broke vengeance for life. Oh, no, it's all good, brother. Trust me, I understand. Times can be hard for people. Again, Darth Shibby, welcome. Make your way around the tower. Enjoy the amenities. God Emperor Doug says, watched Kai Obi cut the other day. Made me lose even more faith in Disney. He made a solid edit working with straight trash. Hope it gets better. Yeah, for sure, man. Kai is a very talented guy. I thought his edit of Kenobi was brilliant. So, yeah, indeed. Logi Juan Kenobi, welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Appreciate you, man. And then Sozin says, making more sequels is more for themselves than the fans. They want to right their wrongs, but we don't give a fuck anymore. We've had a year to stew in their poop, or we've had years to stew in their poop. Now, can we get something else? Love Star Wars. Yeah. No, I think many fans will have that same reaction, and I can't blame them. It's wild. Like, what an interesting strategy. Angel Stark, member for 10 months, says, Werewolf by Night. Okay, that was sick. Wakanda Forever, and the holiday special. We're on the rise, boys. Much love, Nerdvengers. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Werewolf by Night was super cool. Wakanda Forever was super good, and so was the holiday special. I am personally of the mind, like, that's kind of where I'm at with it, and I want to know what you guys think, right? I'm kind of the mind that, like, I agree that Wakanda Forever was really good, and it was a good closeout. It didn't turn me on Phase 4. It didn't, like, and honestly, it didn't even really give me a ton of hope about what's to come. Like, Wakanda Forever's very good, but, and maybe you guys had this feeling, I didn't get this feeling. It wasn't the savior. Like, it didn't, like, I don't know. It didn't do that for me. Like, it's a very good movie, especially when you consider like what they had to deal with. It's really cool, but it didn't make me feel like, oh shit, all of our problems are behind us, you know? Joey Ebb says, lurking and working. Luke Soka for life. Happy belated birthday. Thanks, man. I appreciate the love. Meet Normus, member for 16 month, says, happy belated birthday, Josh. I'm hyped for Phase 5 after poopy Phase 4. Guardians trailer made me feel things for the first time in a while. Yeah, I agree. That trailer was really, really cool. Weirdly, not very heavily viewed, actually. But yeah, that trailer looks great. And I think between that and Quantumania, we probably got some really good bangers to start Phase 5 off with, for sure. Rayumbo says, I don't know how to feel about them using the de-aging stuff. I feel it kills acting, and I'd rather just recast where it's needed after Secret Wars, Nerd Avengers for life. Yeah, I mean, it's totally fair that you feel that way. I will say that I've always said, and this goes back to like the Luke Skywalker stuff and all this, it's the character. I care very little about like which actor it is or whatever. It's more like the character. And I do think, though, that using this technology to sort of recreate the character in the way that it's most memorable or most recognizable is good. So for me, man, like basically, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't even care if it wasn't actually Robert Downey Jr. and they deepfaked him and just had his consent and like used his footage. And if it actually just looked like I care about Tony Stark. I mean, I like Robert Downey Jr., but I care about Tony Stark. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just so on the other side of that. I don't care about the actors that much. So that's just me. Kiwi Singh says, gotta go for now. Uni stuff. We'll catch the stream on replay. Love you 3000, Josh, and love y'all Nerd Avengers. Kang Gang for life. Take my money. Good luck, man. Good luck with the school stuff. Good luck with the school stuff, bruh. So, what do you guys think about all of this stuff? I'll hang out on the chat and see what you guys are saying. Pizza Lion says, no connectivity between projects crippled Phase 4. Supposedly, Feige did that intentionally. So because they wanted to do some unique stuff, i.e. trash. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a fair assessment of it. And I'm also in the camp of like, don't do that anymore, you know? And I think Marvel is currently course correcting on that for sure. Logi 1 Kenobi. Oh, it's Logi, not Logi. Wait, what? Logi, not Logi. Logi 1 Kenobi. Okay. I can't hate on all sequel characters, but enough is enough. More of that is not what the majority wants, needs, whether some admit it or not. You into D&D? Happy holidays. Yeah, I love Dungeons & Dragons. I haven't played in a long while. But yeah, I always say like Dungeons & Dragons or playing a tabletop RPG is the most fun I've ever had gaming. It is absolutely incredible. Logie like Logan. I guess, huh? I guess. When I karaoke, I try to hit a low G. Oh, okay. Are we completely off the rails here? Michael Smith says, hey, Josh, love your content. I thought I was out on Marvel stuff, but listening to what's coming ahead, I'm starting to get really excited. Stay cool. Hey. No, I mean, look, I'm in the same camp, bro. Like, I love Marvel, and I think they're definitely changing things, and it's going to be better. I don't think we're going to have all bangers, but I guess where my personal hope is, the closer we get to Secret Wars, shit needs to be tight, bro. It needs to be like Phase 3 was, where it's like tight and everything feels like it's connected and holy shit, like, oh man, we're just going through this big story, which it does feel like that's what's going to happen. Like, you're going to take the Earthbound Avengers through a lot of shit with Cap 4 and Thunderbolts. They're going through a lot of shit, you know? And meanwhile, you're going to set up some cosmic multiversal stuff, but that crew that's going to go through all that shit together is going to be the first line of Avengers that meet Kang. You know what I mean? Again, you got to check out the video we're dropping later. Yeah. Do I have to go back to work? Can I just sit here and chat? I say, what's work? Don't do that. Andre just dropped in to give you some Chimichanga. Can't stay for now. Dad life requires my honorary attention. Much love, fam. Nerd vengeance and take my money. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate it. That's what Tarantino said. This is exactly what this is. We care about characters. Actor is secondary, but you need to keep essence and key elements of characters. Yeah, I agree, but I also don't think that Marvel did that. Tarantino thinks Marvel did that. I would argue that's just the sensibilities of modern audiences. There are very few actors or actresses that have a draw all their own. That's just not what happens anymore. Maybe some of that's just the disillusion of celebrity. But like that shit doesn't happen. Like Tom Cruise is like one of the last ones. Tom Cruise and Leonardo DiCaprio. They're like the last ones, dude. Like it just doesn't happen. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. It's not Marvel, you know. It's just audiences. Iron Feige, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. God Emperor Doug follows up and says, Josh, you have a chance to pass a fart on KK or shake Feige's hand. Which one do you choose? Oh, I'll always choose love over hate. Let me shake Feige's hand, bro, and then I'll never wash it. I'll keep it like in, what was that movie with Hansen and Zoolander, where the X-Files guy was the hand model, and he encases his hand in the thing? That'll be me. I'll shake Feige's hand, and I'll just encase my hand forever. Feige simp alert. Dude, I'm a tier 3 Feige simp. You kidding me? Low key, too. Some of my sources... I shouldn't say that. Never mind. All I'll say is this. I like Kevin Feige and Marvel more than some people that work there. That's all I'll say. Ryan Reynolds isn't some great actor, but he has his lane and owns it. Not everyone needs to be Leo. True. Ryan Reynolds, decent draw. Does great in the modern world of like kind of putting himself out there and all that. You know what I mean? What if She-Hulk is one of the higher Feige MCU original vision? Think of that and put hype a few shelves lower. Wait, what? What if She-Hulk is one of the higher Feige MCU original visions? I can't believe that. All right. Peace out, Shibby. Most sequel trilogy fans are Adam Driver / Ben Solo fans. If he does not return, this will have no chance at all. Yeah, and I would say get him back for sure. Figure it out. Get him back. Figure it out. Could be fun. How is Star Wars going to get a new head coach when the old head coach has already called the plays for the next 10 years of games? Well, unfortunately, the way I'm interpreting this, Brian, is that they'll probably just put someone else at Lucasfilm in charge. And they might even say some whack-ass shit about carrying on the legacy of KK. I mean, it seems like they are just so committed to trying to preserve her integrity or whatever. You know, they want to protect her the whole way. It's just, like, fascinating to me because I think some people on the board are like, bro, fuck this lady. Look at our profits, right? But there seems to be a lot of people that are like, we're going to protect Kathy. We got to protect Kathy and all that. You know what I mean? Adam Driver is too talented to walk back into that dumpster fire. Adam Driver is smart. Adam Driver is talking to Marvel Studios because he understands that if he wants to continue to do all of these little indie projects and all the crazy shit that he does, he needs to be in the main conversation. He needs the Star Wars. He needs the Marvel. He needs the big film to then allow him to have the cachet to do these other little projects. He's smart. Drew Smith says, how about that Mario trailer? I mean, it looks dope. I'm impressed with how good that Mario movie looks so far. You know? Who's your choice for a new Iron Man actor? Oh, a ton of people. Like Tom Cruise could be great. There's a ton of people that could be Iron Man. You know? But I love Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. He's awesome, so. If Doom is the big bad after this saga, would Doom Wars be a focal point? Maybe Doom still want the Phoenix Force power? There's all sorts of fun stuff they could do with Doom, man. All sorts of fun stuff. So I'd be happy if they did that. I want Ahsoka to be the Kang of Star Wars. Give her access to the world between worlds and let her see the sequels or end the sequels with an incursion. I mean, that is such an interesting idea. But I mean, all the evidence we have of Lucasfilm is like that is the opposite of the way that they're gonna go, bro. Like they are double tripling down. You know. You guys want to see this Silver Surfer deck that I have in Marvel Snap? Should I play a couple games? Driver has done House of Gucci last duel. Don't think he needs Star Wars to prop him up. Oh, well, I just would disagree, Chase. Why do you think he's talking to Marvel? Like, come on, man. Is what I said so unreasonable? Why? It's a job like anything else. You got to do some things you don't want to do. Marvel is fine, not Star Wars. I mean, you know, I can't really disagree with you there, but. All right, so the Galactus deck is cool, but it's a pain in the ass to win with. So I'll show you this hybrid deck. I'm rocking Sunspot. I'm rocking Ironheart, Silver Surfer, Patriot, Brood, Lockjaw, Punisher, Storm, Thor, Wong, Absorbing Man, and Panther. And I'll show you how it plays right meow. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun deck. It's a pretty fun deck. Ooh. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is Wong into Thor. And then I'm going to snap. Ew. Ew. You shouldn't show your deck on stream, man? What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, is that a euphemism? Double the Mjolnirs, double your fun. Okay, let's do a Punisher in the lane where they are heavy. Ooh, they're brooding it up too. Interesting. Okay, so let's Sunspot into Ironheart. Boom. This is fucking Hearthstone, dude. What? Actually, it is Ben Brode, who was one of the people that created Hearthstone. Big time developer over there. I'd love to Lockjaw into Silver Surfer, but I think the move is actually just to Silver Surfer here twice. And Ben Brode did design this game over the past 4 years. He left Hearthstone like 4 or 5 years ago and created this game. So yeah, it's very similar. They got you to play some Snap. They did, yeah. They did. They did. Huh. Okay, so how many cards do I have in the deck? 4. So there's 2 Mjolnirs in there. There's a Black Panther and Absorbing Man. So the worst one to hit would be Absorbing Man. Hitting a Mjolnir would be sick. Josh, please show me your birthday nips. No. Hey, that'll do. Hopefully. Yeah. Wow, it's close though, huh? I'm not going to show you my nipples, but I'll show you this fun shirt. Look at this cool shirt. A fun varsity kind of shirt, man. Yeah, GG's. That's how we do it. That's the new deck. I like this deck a lot. So man, I really wish I had more time to play. So I got to get out of here, work on the Secret Wars video a little bit that Fernie sent, get that rocking and a rolling. But But yeah, so I'm going to call it there. Much love to you all today. I appreciate you. So no stream tomorrow publicly. We will do a Nerd Avenger stream at 11. So that'll be fun, just hanging out with the members. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at 11. Otherwise, I'll see you guys Thursday. Should have some really fun videos on the way as well. Game Awards on Thursday. That's going to be really wild. So, you know, maybe some Jedi Survivor stuff, more Marvel Snap stuff, some stuff for the fun other games that are coming out. So look forward to all of that. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Man. Nice holiday stream. Nice vibes, man. I'm feeling good. Hope y'all are feeling good. That was fun, man. Culty always delivers. It's good to give him some shine. It's good to have some fun, speculate. I didn't explain the TVA, but that's because I don't know, bro. I don't know. We're going to have to wait till Loki season 2. I appreciate y'all so much. I just want to say again, I'm very grateful. Thank you guys for being here. It's a good one. Much love. Yeah, John, I did. I absolutely did. I'll see many of you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Check on your homies. Open up that third eye. Wash out your butt. And wash your feet and behind your ears. And make sure you're drinking enough water. Holy shit. I worry about you guys sometimes. I worry about you. So do me a favor and take care of yourselves. Holy shit. Bye.